What's up, peeps? This week's podcast is sponsored by Scott Health and Fitness. Commit, succeed, lead, or be your own superhero. All right, how is everyone doing? It's time for another edition of Chillin with Booze, and yes, it is me, Pat Booze. I'm a Netflix binger, I'm a car owner, I'm a producer, but mostly I'm an on-air personality and a podcaster. So if this is your first time listening to the pod, then let me enlighten you a little bit, blow your minds, if you will. This podcast is inside the hearts and minds of everyone with a positive message and anyone that is trying to get more positivity into the world, because that's what this world needs, more positivity. Remember the phrase, PMA, positive mental attitude. All right, this week's podcast sponsor is the guest. Yeah, Derik Scott at Scott Health and Fitness is the guest and sponsor. Lawyer, trainer, MMA fighter, and nutritionist. Seriously, this guy has so much on his plate, and he is here on the pod. He talks about his family tragedy leading to his drive, his trip to China for a world record, and how he can juggle so much and be willing to help everyone and anyone. So sit back and enjoy the pod.
Derik Scott on the mic.
All right, man. How's it going? I mean, I normally say when I haven't seen somebody, it's been a long time. For you, it's been a long time. We're talking almost 15 plus years. For Christ's
probably
sake.
Like grade school. Yeah, we used to ride the same bus when we were little kids.
Yeah, and what's crazy, you left Northwest like your freshman year, or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So your freshman year would have been me in 8th grade.
That's correct.
So, and me and Sean were in the same class. So, yeah, I never knew what happened to you guys until like senior year. Then I saw Sean at a track meet, and I'm like, oh, you guys are over in Lindbergh.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, well, my mom went to Lindbergh, and my grandparents still live there. So actually, I lived with my grandparents my freshman year, and then the rest of my family moved into Lindbergh's district. But my mom always wanted us to go to Lindbergh for high school because that's where she went. She had all these, emotional ties to the district and stuff like that. And they had been, even back then, they were receiving like awards for being a good school district. So my mom always knew that she wanted to do that.
That's awesome. So how's it going, man? I mean, Derik Scott, what do I throw out first? The lawyer term, or the MMA trainer, or the personal trainer, or the fact that you're like I said, one injury away from becoming Daredevil, basically?
Yeah, these days it's kind of hard to describe what I do because I'm essentially wearing a lot of different hats. I own and run my own general practice law firm. I am a professional signed MMA fighter. We also do a significant amount of health, fitness, nutrition coaching, as well as wholesale supplementation. So we're in that industry as well. And then we actually run our own fight promotion, amateur fight promotion on top of all that. So I do a lot of different stuff.
And you're fighting for Shamrock, right?
That's correct, yeah.
How are you able to do all this? I mean, good Lord, man. There's only so many hours in the day, and you gotta sleep sometime, but yet you're doing all this.
Yeah, I wake up early, and from the time I wake up, it's kind of like go, go, go. I'm either training myself, training clients, attending hearings, or, just trying to stay on top of everything. And I have a lot of people that support me and help me do the things that I do. So anytime you see me do anything of recognition, there's a whole team of people behind me that are responsible for that.
That's you got to have the support system. That is awesome. Like, what's like the most challenging thing that you've had to deal with so far? Like, being not only an attorney, but being a personal trainer, being an MMA trainer, training yourself, and then just trying to juggle a personal life. I bet it's got to be hard as hell with that. And you're married too, so that's got to be even tougher.
Long-term girlfriend, but the thing is my personal. No worries at all. She wishes we were married already, but we'll see. I'm good at compartmentalizing things, and then the people in my life, my family, my girlfriend, my girlfriend's family, all of my clients, they recognize the things that I do, and when I say they support me, I mean 100%. They really do support everything that I do. So it makes it feels like I'm just kind of living my life as opposed to working through things sometimes. So I wouldn't say anything is particularly hard. I've had some adversity that we've gone through, and my family, my brothers, my girlfriend, they pick me up right away. There is no, there's no down, there's no valleys, or the valleys that are there are very brief, right?
Yeah.
I help you, you help me type thing.
That's awesome. It's good to have a support system around you. You can't like have any negative people around you and stuff like that. And you don't have any of that, I'm guessing. You don't have any of that negativeness. Like everybody's just got to keep going. Got to keep going. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a go, 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 but everybody around me is doing so many different things. My brother Sean is also a professional fighter. My brother Zeke is a semi-professional football player. He also works at a marketing agency. So everybody is on top of and doing a lot of things. So there's a lot of support that goes around just between us brothers,
Right.
And then my family, our clients, everybody is supportive of that too.
Hey, your family still run that gym over there off Lime?
No, so my family doesn't actually run a gym anymore, but we do coach at, and we are partnered with High Energy Gymnastics in Chesterfield.
Right.
And High Energy Gymnastics has a location in Chesterfield, 2 locations, and then a location in Eureka. And that's run by a guy named Paul Battaglia, who's fantastic, and he also supports the many things that we do.
Where's Zeke playing football at now?
So Zeke plays quarterback for the Missouri Cyclones. He had a bunch of offers all over Europe and all over the place, but he chose to turn them down, and then he's going to do another season with the Cyclones.
You getting any prospects from the NFL at all, or?
I don't know. Some practice league stuff or some practice team theoretically could be on the horizon, but again, I'm not plugged into that world, so I don't want to speak beyond what I actually know. But
Right.
He had a great season last year, and I'm sure he'll have another great season this year.
And then Sean, I've seen a lot of the fight clips and stuff like that from him over at Shamrock, and just his demeanor. It's just, does he pick up any of that from you?
No,
Or
man,
some of his demeanor, like as like a post-fight or a pre-fight interview and stuff like that. He's just hilarious. What do he call himself? The something fit.
The pacifist.
The pacifist. Yeah. Where did he come up with that?
Sean is Sean, and I say that almost as a cliche, but he really is the most unique individual I've ever met. And I tell him all the time, I'm proud of the person that he's become, because he is just such a unique and neat individual. And he in normal life, he's the kindest, most gentle person you'll ever meet. But if you unfortunately wind up inside a cage with him, he's going to choke you out. You're going to sleep for sure.
I've been trying to find on Shamrock's record, like your record for MMA.
Yeah, my amateur record was, I think it was 8-2. I had one split decision that I disagreed with, and then I had one loss that has kind of sat with me for a really long time, but we're moving forward. I tore my pec right like 4 or 5 days before my pro debut.
Oh, wow.
So we kicked that back a little bit, and I'm hoping to go probably early next year. We'll make that happen.
That's awesome. I mean, it sucks about the torn pec, but hopefully you're able to heal up pretty quickly. How'd you get in with MMA though?
So it was 100% Sean's doing. I mean, growing up we did like watch the Ninja Turtles. We were ninjas. We did karate as kids, and we could do backflips from the time we were 5. So we had that like ninja persona. But the thing is I went off to law school, and Sean kind of coincidentally started training and took a fight. I think he was the headline of a fight down in Florida, right? So they bring him down to Florida to be the headline of this show, and I think he's supposed to be set up to lose. Well, he chokes this dude out in the first like 2 minutes, and from then on he was off to the races, and he had an absolutely fantastic amateur career, was Shamrock's 185-pound champion, and is now well into an awesome professional career.
Wow. And so your involvement basically just stems from him.
Yeah.
But so you go from being a lawyer to being an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
That's got to be the most interesting transition I've ever heard. I mean, seriously. There's not even making joke wise, just like I've never heard of something like that. Most lawyers, play like tennis and stuff like that. You have to be the only lawyer that I probably have ever heard of that can win a case and then come back and beat the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, I make jokes about trial by combat all the time, but it actually happened very organically, right? So I coincidentally moved and right next to one of the best gyms in Texas. At the time, it was called Octagon MMA. I just started going because I wanted to, train myself, because my brother's winning all these fights. Well, I coincidentally wound up at a gym that has 40 professional fighters. The gym owner had actually gone to law school and graduated from Indiana Law School. So he had kind of an affinity for me because of that. We shared that common background. And he absolutely laid a fantastic foundation for my mixed martial arts career. They've since opened a new gym called Fortis MMA, which is in conjunction with, I can't think of his name. He's the professional basketball player. Played for the Mavericks, played for the Cavaliers. Oh man, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but that's Safe Side is the MMA coach guy, and they're putting guys in the UFC like crazy. But because of that, I had a great foundation to go into actual fighting in MMA, and I was doing it before work and after work.
So you mentioned UFC. They're sending a lot of guys to UFC, and you're fighting for Shamrock.
That's correct.
Any chance you're looking at UFC, either one of you, or Bellator?
So those are achievements that you have to warrant and you have to earn. And neither Sean nor I is going to be braggadocious and say, oh, that's not our style, right? We're simply more humble beings than that. But Sean is just a fantastic fighter, right? And he's already off to a great start. So, you kind of see how things play out. But, UFC is going to be here in January. And the thing is, Shamrock has an agreement with Bellator. So if you win the Shamrock Pro belt, you basically are guaranteed a 3-fight contract with Bellator. So to say that it's a possibility is not, beyond a reasonable thing to basically talk about.
Wow. That would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
As I know, a lot of people from around the area remember the Chandlers.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Chandler, and
Yeah.
he's a big-time deal in Bellator. Having a bit of a, I guess you could say, a disagreement right now with some of the fights decisions and stuff like that. And it'd be awesome to get another Jefferson County local area getting thrown in that mix too.
Yeah, that Northwest Wrestling program is, we're all in that as kids, and, he went to the high school, but, we know those guys personally, a lot of them, so it's like, lots of...
intertwined.
Yeah.
One thing I want to talk to you about. You attempted to go for WWE Tough Enough.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome.
And how the hell did they not choose you?
I don't know,
I
man.
remember clear as day, the first time they aired a spot for it, you were one of the guys that stood out because you're walking across your graduation at Baylor.
Yeah.
And you just do a standing backflip.
Oh, yeah. Between me and Sean, we had a total of probably like 45 seconds in like a 2-minute intro, right, when they announced the show. And the thing is we got really deep into it, but at the end of the day, they chose guys who weren't us. And you know what? We've had a lot of those, right? So we've had American Ninja Warrior. We've had the WWE Tough Enough. We actually have done 2 different Guinness World Record shows, and we have a Guinness World Record.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Me and Zeke, my youngest brother, set the Guinness World Record for the most Swiss ball backflips between 2 people in a minute in like January or July of 2015. And then Sean and I went to Shanghai, China, and we battled Shaolin monks for the 30-second record. But that is such a crazy story in and of itself that like it would take me forever to tell it.
Okay, you just brought it up. Now you have to elaborate.
Yeah,
Come on. Give me something on it. Jesus.
So once you have a Guinness World Record, you're kind of in this like listserv, right? So Guinness will sometimes send you emails. Well, what happened is I got an email from a Chinese address, and I was like a little skeptical of it, because it seemed a little off.
Yeah, that's like that's sending up red flags right there.
Yeah, so basically what I'm saying is, all right, I'm kind of giving platitudes. I'm not sure if this is real or not, but basically saying, send us the flight tickets, pay for our visas, et cetera, and we'll go. Well, eventually I reached out to the Guinness rep that we had worked with in a previous record that we set. And he was like, no, this is a real thing. So then we're like scrambling to get our visas and everything. And I flew from Dallas to Shanghai, and Sean flew from St. Louis to Shanghai. He and I had never practiced the trick together. We practiced the trick for the first time in our hotel room with like no space, like less space than we have right here in the studio. And at this point, when Zeke and I set the original record, we just set it. It was just he and I attempting to set the record. We thought it was the same setup when we were going to China. We didn't find out until 5 a.m. the next morning when we're doing like our introductory like photo shoot, like videos, that there was like 5 other teams involved in this. So what they had done is they had basically sent out a call for like everybody who could do this trick, right? And that morning they had like a little contest between all of the other contestants. Well, the best 2 were these tiny little Shaolin monk dudes. And when I say Shaolin monk dudes, I mean like the Bruce Lee yellow jumpsuit. They had those on, like no joke. And these guys are doing wushu kung fu, which is like tricking kung fu as a warm up before like their attempts and stuff like
What
that.
do you mean tricking kung fu? Like,
So like like round offs into like a side somersault.
Oh,
And Sean
wow.
and I are like, all right, well can you do this? So we're doing backflips and handstands and stuff like this. And
trying to show off and trying to one up the other.
yeah,
Basically.
it was kind of crazy. We almost feel like they brought us there, and then they're like, hey, we got these little Chinese guys who are going to try and beat you for your record. And then when we're there, what happens is they tried to change the size of the Swiss ball. They told us that we weren't going to do it on mats. And this trick is such that you basically are always within like 1 to 2 inches of hitting your head on the ground, right? So we had always done it on mats. Well, this time they're like, oh yeah, you're going to do it on concrete. So we're like, okay. And, like we kind of felt like we were in a bind. We have to agree to this. Change the
You
size.
came all this way. Why not? Right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was the whole trip was crazy. But what happened is on our first attempt, Sean actually hit his head on the ground and had a concussion. Like for sure, he had to have had a
Jesus.
concussion. So because of that, we I think had 27 backflips in 30 seconds, and they had like 28. So we lost by 1 with Sean having a concussion. So we had the record for backflips in a minute, and these two Shaolin dudes over in China have the record for
So when
30
you say
seconds.
okay, so explain what you were doing though. Like, what'd you say it was a Swiss ball?
A Swiss
bag?
ball, like a yoga ball.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So
They're
like one
like
of those big medicine balls,
exact.
or
It's not a medicine ball, but it's like a squishy rubber. They're about 30
Right,
inches
okay,
long,
okay,
right?
okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you jump onto it, and your back hits it, and then you backflip off of it, and the ball rolls away from you, and then your partner does the same thing, and you basically are jumping to do your backflip while your partner is jumping onto and
Please tell me
flipping
there's
off of.
video of this.
Oh yeah,
good
there's definitely video.
God.
I got it on my Instagram, all that stuff.
You
yeah.
gotta send that to me. I'm gonna put that in the links on when I post this podcast. I'm definitely putting that in the
Yeah.
links. Holy crap! So, you guys lose by 1, then what?
It sucked, but they still paid us for the attempt. So we've
At least you
actually-
got paid for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you lost the record, but at least you got paid for it.
We
That's
got,
the silver lining of it.
a trip to China. We got our appearance fee paid, and it was actually a really good trip and a really nice time for Sean and I to bond, because Zeke and I had bonded on the other attempt, which was in LA.
Right.
So still really cool trip. We talk about it all the time.
That is amazing. I mean, hell, I've been to Hawaii. That's about as far as out of the country I've gone.
Sean's actually in Hawaii right now.
What is he training for his next fight? I'm guessing, or
No, he's just something. He just won his last fight in first round rear naked choke. So then he popped off to
So
Hawaii.
I'm taking
to
he's a
relax.
submission specialist. So.
Oh yeah.
And then you specialize in jiu-jitsu. I've seen, right?
To be honest, they always ask you like what type of fighter you are, and I always just say I'm an athlete, right? Because they ask about your game plan as well, and for me it's you take what's given, right? Whatever presents itself, that's what you're going to capitalize on.
That's awesome. That is an awesome philosophy to have. What about talk to me about being a personal trainer.
Oh yeah.
And how how do you get you're giving advice and stuff like that? Like, tell me something like you go through on a daily basis with dealing with clients and stuff like that, and dealing with someone you're actually training though too, because I know you train with your brother.
Yeah.
You help
Oh, yeah.
train him. So do you incorporate some of your MMA inside a personal training, or try to keep it separate basically?
Yeah, so we like to use, time-tested principles in everything that we do. So we're really adamant about using programs, exercises, and things that work well, and then adapting them to what we do. So we incorporate gymnastics, we incorporate resistance training, we incorporate bodyweight movements, we incorporate anything that'll work and help our clients get towards their goals. We're happy to use it. We also do a significant amount of nutrition coaching. So we have a software platform that allows us to coach a lot of clients in a really, really, really effective fashion. So we use that as much as we possibly can, right? So we have clients who are doing daily lessons, daily habits, and check-ins every 2 weeks on our software platform. So we have a lot of them that are in St. Louis, but we've got people that are all over the country, and we've actually got some people that are in Australia and Europe as well. So
How do you check in with them though? Like, do you do it Skype and stuff like that, or?
yeah, so we do Skype
Okay.
consultations, but also everything that they do within our software platform, I can see from a coaching perspective. So every time they read a lesson and input answers, it pings me,
Okay.
right? Every time that they check off that they've done their habit for the day, it pings me. Every time they upload photos, pictures, circumference measurements, it pings me, right?
Right.
So every time they are doing something, I'm positively reinforcing that behavior by saying, or maybe being a coach there, right? So if they're having some adversity that they're facing, I can immediately say like, oh, this is something that everyone goes through. Normalize what they're going through, and then give them really easy tips to move forward.
Is it more harder to deal with somebody when they're far away versus like some of the people coming in? I mean, you gotta deal. No doubt, there's some people that are probably lying and stuff like that about the stuff that they're actually doing. They're saying, "Oh yeah, I did this and did this today," but they really didn't.
Sure.
So you gotta take their word for it, basically.
Yeah. So that like not being compliant, but kind of being a little bit of we're all incentivized to show people that our best foot, right? That's going to manifest itself, and I'm going to see that when they do their check-ins, right? So we're doing check-ins every 2 weeks. So if they are simply staying the exact same in their lessons and their habits when they're answering those questions, if they're not, there'll be a mental change along with everything that they're going through. If I'm not seeing progress, that's really easy for me to kind of sniff out as a coach. Yeah.
So you've been able to like train yourself to be able to sniff out who's BSing you and who's telling the truth and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, so not only just reading people from like a what they say standpoint, but nonverbal communication and being outcomes based in my decision making. But the thing is I actually finished up not too long ago a year-long nutrition coaching certification that basically allowed me to do exactly what my clients do, except for me as a coach. So in the kind of semantically, they call us a master nutrition coach, right? I've achieved the level 2 certification, so that kind of allows me to have a little bit higher perspective of what's going on.
So put another notch in your belt.
Yeah.
Now a nutritionist along
Yeah.
to go with everything else.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, Jesus Christ, is there anything you can't do? I mean, what the hell?
I like to say no, but I believe that for everyone, right? Not only for myself, for my brothers, for the clients that we coach. I believe that, we use the phrase "be your own superhero."
I was going to ask you about that. Where did that come from?
To be honest, what happened was I was 1 year removed from law school, and I saw one of the top NFL prospects do like a box jump. It was like a 42-inch box jump with like 35-pound dumbbells in your hands, right?
Holy crap.
And at the time, I was a full-time attorney, and I was simply working out on my lunch break. And I did a video, and I did like a side-by-side. I did the exact same jump. And this guy was 6'9", like 275 pounds, doing a 40-inch box jump with 35-pound dumbbells in each hand. I'm 5'9", 175 pounds, and did the exact same thing. And in the video, I basically said, like, look, be your own superhero. Like, whatever that person you envision, that perfect person, right, that paragon, like, do what that person would do, right? Be your own superhero. So from that day forward, we've used that catchphrase. We actually have it trademarked and everything, and we use it all the time.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that part too. If you had a trademark,
Oh, yeah.
That's actually
Yeah.
a really good catchphrase to
Yeah.
use. That is awesome. That is clever, and it works. It ties well with your whole
Oh, yeah.
possibility of being a
Yeah,
superhero.
it's definitely on brand.
Just like I said, one accident away from being Matt Murdock and
Yeah.
going to be the blind lawyer from Jefferson County.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got any advice for like anybody that's like going through workouts and stuff like that? Like people that are hitting the gym every day. Like,
Yeah.
do you have any advice for anybody like that?
So what happens a lot of the times is that people overcomplicate things, right? The fitness industry is full of information, right? But information is not what really creates the change. Just consistent behavior, that's what actually creates the change. So just start wherever you're at, use whatever you have, and do whatever it takes to make the next step happen. And we always talk about next steps, right? So rather than look down the road where you want to be, we don't talk about that. Like, yes, you should have those goals, right? But what we have our clients focus on is just that immediate next step, whatever it may be, right? So if it's today I'm going to create 5 minutes of time where I do something healthy for myself, right? That's super easy. I can do 5 minutes of time for 2 weeks, right? That's what once I've got that habit, it's ingrained in what I do, then you can build from there, right? I'm going to eat protein with each meal. And these are nutrition habits, right?
Right.
So then I can do, I eat protein with each meal. So I'm making 5 minutes a day, and now I'm eating protein, right? So I'm just simply focused on that super easy next step, that 10 out of 10 that I know for a fact I can do that. And if it looks too hard, you just scale back until it's 10 out of 10. Can I eat protein once a day, right? Can I make 2 minutes? Whatever it is, and then you just continue to build on those next steps.
Because that's definitely helping like me get it into my own head, because I'm trying to, I don't know if you've seen some of my posts recently. I've actually started walking again, like trying to do like walk around like a big old park down in Sykeston every day. I've done it 3 days in a row now.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I'm trying, but I just feel like, oh, if I don't do it tomorrow, I'm gonna feel like crap, and then something ends up coming up, and I end up skipping it, and then I have to pretty much restart. Like, I did it 3 times this past week. Well, last time I did it, I tried doing it. I did it 2 days in a row, and then I missed Wednesday, and then I didn't do it for another month almost.
Sure. So we talk about this all the time. You got to have some self-compassion, right? You're never going to be perfect, right? So we always talk about progress, not perfection, right? So if you have a week where you walk 6 days out of that week, and then you don't walk for that 7th day, rather than focusing on that 7th day, which is, minuscule in comparison to what you're doing, focus on the 6 days, right? So we always talk about what have you done well, and how do we amplify that, right? I walked for 6 days. That's awesome, right? How did that make you feel? How did that affect your day? What are your energy levels like? That's fantastic. Okay, how can we build from there, right? So, and in fitness, we talk about the mountain analogy a lot, right? So if I walk up a mountain, right, and I stop and I take a break for a second and I look around, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm back down at the bottom of the mountain. No, I've paused for a second. And then you just continue to walk up the mountain. So missing a day is not starting over. It's simply pausing for a second.
I didn't even think about it like that. Wow. That's... I'm trying, like, the whole basis of this whole podcast is like trying to promote like positiveness and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And you're doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that it's not only reaching everybody else, but it definitely reached me right now. Because now,
good.
like I said, I don't feel as bad if I end up missing tomorrow. I won't feel as bad if I do it again if I start up on Thursday.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm just taking a pause.
Yeah.
So, as far as like nutrition though, like what do you recommend for someone that's like trying to eat more healthy, but it's a little harder when they're on like the go and stuff like that? What do you recommend towards that?
Yeah, so this is going to sound crazy, but one of our first and foundational habits that we use with our nutrition coaching clients is eating slowly. So what happens is we have a habit that's 2 weeks long, and all I do is I ask clients to just simply eat slowly. And if that's setting a timer or whatever it may be, right? Maybe it's 2 minutes, maybe it's 3 minutes, maybe it's even 10, 15, 20 minutes longer, right? What happens is that eating slowly has so many benefits that you wouldn't even think about, right? It allows your satiation hormones to kick in, right? Those hormones that make you feel full, they take time to kick in. That slow eating will actually help you to allow those hormones to kick in. The other benefit is by eating slowly, it makes you check back in with your body and kind of be mindful of the choices. So simply by eating slowly, it will affect the choices and the foods that you eat.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And there's a pretty robust amount of research that says like this slow eating is like super legit. I generally try not to bog people down in the research studies, but it's something that I as a coach am extremely interested in, and I want to be based in research-backed principles, right? It kind of harkens back to that. These are tested principles. That eating slowly thing, while it sounds goofy, is oftentimes when I have a client who's freaking out about binging or a specific food, rather than restrict them, what I say and all I ask them to do is simply to eat that food slowly. So we had a client actually last week who's relatively new, and he was freaking out about eating pizza. And I was like, look, man, you had 6 meals that were fantastic, small, really good meals. And I don't make him eat 6 meals. That was just what he had done that day, right? He had vegetables and a protein with every single meal. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. If you want to have a little bit of pizza, you're going to be fine. You did a workout today. I want you to just simply eat it really slowly. And I asked him to do what's called create a speed bump, right? So you put the food physically away from you, so that if you're going to eat more, you have to get up, check back in with yourself, and then get more of that food. And what happened was he ate like a slice and a half of a box of pizza, of a full pizza, no big deal. Actually lost weight that day. Weighed himself, was super neurotic about it. He didn't have to do that, but he did. So that being reasonable about food choices and focusing on the progress, not the perfection, and then amplifying up those things that he was doing well. Like somebody that's eating vegetables and lean proteins 6 times a day, like that's awesome, right? And
Yeah.
and I couldn't, you know, compliment him fast enough to say, like, focus on this, focus on the things that you're doing really well, and don't worry about things that aren't going to really negatively affect you as much as you think they are.
Yeah, and focus on the positive rather than focus on the negative.
Absolutely.
Like for me, it's a little bit harder than that. I've been trying to lose weight for the last like couple of years, and I'm not succeeding very well. And
Sure.
you and I have talked like a number of different times on like going on like a nutrition plan and
Yeah.
stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And I plan on going like actually coming to you guys
Yeah,
and like
you should,
wanting to
man.
come work out and stuff like that. So
We love it. What's funny is that we've had a number of clients now who have achieved some really significant health accomplishments. We've had a number of our clients who started out well over 300 pounds who are now below that 300-pound marker. And when you get below that 300-pound marker, it has all of these fantastic health benefits. In the research, it shows once you get below that 300 pounds, and I have another client right now who's at 302, 303, so he's going to bump back down below that probably in the next week. And oftentimes when they talk about that, they're like, oh, you know, maybe I'm not going to, and I'm like, no, this is huge. Like getting below that 300-pound marker is huge for you, and I make a huge deal out of it, but it's really been fantastic for me as a coach to be able to help people achieve those goals in a reasonable fashion, right? These aren't tactics that are basically going to create rapid weight loss and then rapid weight gain, right? These are principles that they can use throughout the rest of their life. It's not hard for me to ever say, why don't you just eat that food slowly, right? You can do that with any food. So changing how you eat as opposed to what you eat has tremendous benefit.
now you make me think like I'm gonna start trying to eat slower.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's
Please.
just,
Yeah.
I've always, when I was younger, I always ate fast. It was always, you always had to eat fast, eat quick, because we were always timed when we
Yeah.
were in
Oh,
grade
yeah.
school. You remember being at Murphy? We
Oh,
had
yeah.
like 10 minutes to eat, and
Yeah.
then if you didn't eat fast enough, you didn't get any recess time.
Yeah.
And it just, I guess it just kind of stuck with me. I had to eat fast, eat fast, eat fast, and then you don't realize you're full until like you've overdone it.
Yeah, that
basically.
discomfort feeling.
Yeah.
And that's another thing we always ask our clients to tie into, like how their eating behavior makes them feel, how foods make them feel, right? Paying attention to yourself is extremely beneficial. But the thing is, if I said, "Oh, pay attention to yourself," that doesn't work, right? You need these habits and skills and lessons in a structured, scheduled format in order to create the behaviors, right? So, like, I'm always happy to give away as much information as I can, especially good information. But it's the schedules, the structures, and the systems that are actually going to create the behaviors that make the change, right? So that's what people pay me for.
Right.
Those things, not for the information itself, right? Because we all know, hey, I should eat some vegetables. Hey, I should probably not overconsume. Hey, I should probably drink my water, right?
Right.
That's easy. But it's the structure, the schedules, and the systems that actually create the change.
Talk to me a little bit about being a lawyer, because I don't
Yeah.
think we've harped enough on that a little bit, because we started off with that and then we kind of got towards the MMA side and now the trainer bit, but that was your first thing you did.
Yeah,
was
so-
become a lawyer.
I went to Baylor for law school, and Baylor is known. They're always in the top 5 for their advocacy program. And that's actually why I ended up going there. That and the people at Baylor were just insanely welcoming, and I really felt, wanted there. So I go to Baylor on a scholarship, and I know that they have this fantastic advocacy program. Well, the one thing that I really excelled at in law school was advocacy. I mean, I won, there's 2 different competitions where everyone in Baylor Law School has to compete, right?
Right.
I won both of those competitions, and they were like, that was insanely rewarding for me. And then I think in total I was on like 5 or 6 advocacy teams. Each one we had a ton of different accolades. We went out to Washington, D.C., and we won the National Security Law Moot Court competition there with one of my favorite professors, our property professor. She was awesome. So in law school, that was fantastic. Had a lot of successes there. And then, yeah, I mean, being a lawyer is great. It feels a lot like fighting sometimes because you're kind of clawing, and it's very adversarial oftentimes.
So it's basically you take your like no prisoners mentality in MMA fighting, you put it back into being an attorney, and then it's vice versa, basically.
Yeah, there's a lot of principles in martial arts that kind of lend themselves to the legal arena and vice versa, right? Lots of principles and things in the legal world that lend themselves into the martial arts world, right? So oftentimes, anytime I'm in this adversarial environment, whether it be in a courtroom or in a cage, right, I'm looking to be effective and efficient and get the outcome that I want as quickly as possible.
Breathing techniques and that kind of stuff help
Oh
out
yeah,
too.
yeah, for sure. So we do a lot of breathing stuff with our clients. As in the fitness world, we do it as like a pre-workout, and then during the workout, I'm asking clients to pay attention to the breathing, and then as a post-workout to switch your nervous system from like a fight or flight during the workout. You want to be sympathetic driven, and then after the workout, I want to put you back into a rest and recovery state, parasympathetic, right? So we can use breathing techniques to do that. When I'm in a courtroom, it's a little bit different because my law school professor, you always used to say, anything that happens that's negative has to be water off a duck's back. So meaning that anything, because you're going to get shots that hurt and they suck, and you can't let it affect you, right? You can't wear that on your face at all. You can't pretend like it affected you at all. It's just simply water off a duck's back, right? So that's kind of where some of those tricks come into play. It's keeping calm, right? And calm is contagious. So if I'm calm, my clients are calm. If my client's calm and I'm calm, the judge is likely calm. If the jury sees us, we're all calm, no big deal, then what happens is my opposing counsel is not going to score as big of a victory as they think they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Part of the law do you enjoy going for the most?
You know, I don't know, to be honest. I do a little bit of criminal law. I do some civil law. I do some estate planning. And I just try and be a helpful tool in my clients' lives, whether it be the legal arena, the health and fitness arena, or whatever it may be. You know, I want to be a tool for positive change, because oftentimes when people come to me, especially in the legal world, they're at their, most tumultuous, stressful time, and I want to take that stress off their back and let them know that they're going to have an advocate on their behalf, somebody who's going to help them to their best of ability, and helping people. That's kind of my favorite thing.
Lawyers seems like they get a bad rep sometimes when they're always out for the money and they're always out for that kind of stuff. I'm not getting that vibe with you.
Yeah, so even in law school, because I was training as much as I was in the health and fitness arena, people in law school would be like, you don't even seem like a law school student,
Yeah.
right? I had a girl one time that was like, you're too jacked to be a law student. And I was like, that's an awesome compliment. But I oftentimes, it's easy to differentiate me from most attorneys, but at the end of the day, I think everyone who gets into that profession does so for one of two reasons, right? Or one, they want to be of service to others, or two, they see it as a way to make some lucrative movements on their behalf, right? So one's selfless and one's selfish. And I think there are selfish people in every profession, but it's those selfish individuals who give attorneys that bad rap.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Rainmaker. Matt Damon and Danny DeVito.
I know of it, but I don't think I've ever watched it in its totality.
You kind of seem a little bit like Rudy, the character from The Rainmaker, Matt Damon's character, because he's a criminal attorney, and he's not out to make money, he's out to help people.
Sure.
And he wins one big important case, and is there any truth to the statement where he says, at the very end, he says, people are going to have, with this win, people are going to have unnatural expectations of me that I'm going to win every single case of these big, huge cases. I'm going to make so much money for them. And that's why he quits being a practicing attorney and goes back and starts teaching law instead.
That's, there is some truth to that, sure. I was involved as a law school clerk in the largest verdict that had ever happened in Waxahachie County, right? We got a...
That just sounds like a small
area.
area.
small central Texas town. Yeah, sure. But we had a 15-point-something million verdict, right? And based on my experiences in that case, I can see how that would happen. I can see the veracity and the truth to that Matt Damon statement. It makes sense to me.
So would that be like one of your most favorite things you've been a part of since being an attorney?
It was awesome, but you know what? I would say some of my favorite things are even something so small as like fixing a traffic ticket for somebody. Just to see that relief on somebody's face, you know, when they're going through this thing that they think is going to really inhibit their life or their freedom for, and then be able to give them that sense of relief, that sense of calmness. That's been more gratifying for me than that $15 million verdict that I was a part of.
Again, man, it's just you seem like you seem like seriously a superhero right out the freaking comic books, because it's almost like you're Superman more than Daredevil right now, because you and not to blow smoke up your ass or anything, but it's just the amount of positivity that you're just talking about.
Yeah, man.
It's more than I've heard in forever, and you've actually done that for me. You helped me with that case, and I appreciate that more than you know. Telling me exactly what to say to this individual because of with the whole DJ thing.
Yeah.
Telling me what to say to her, and I haven't heard back from her.
Yeah, and
so
the thing is, and I'll tell you this, I probably do more pro bono or free work than I do actual work, and that's with health and fitness or in the legal world, because at the end of the day, I really do just kind of want to help people, and I feel like there has to be some sense of karma in the universe that's going to come back and like help me as an individual. And I think recently a lot of good things have been happening where that stuff is kind of coming back around, that energy. But yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. You're probably far too kind. But I'm just kind of another human in the world trying to get through every day as best as I can, you know?
I'm sounding like I got smoke. I'm blowing smoke up your ass, but in all honesty, it's the honest to God truth. I mean, I've never heard somebody with this amount of positivity and this amount of willing to help people, because you don't hear about that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah, and I'm not unique in that fashion. There are people every day who do far more for other people than I do, but I think it stems from the fact that, you know, my relationships with my brothers is so strong because I had an older brother who passed away when we were younger, so that bond with my brothers and my desire to want my older brother who passed away to kind of look down on me and say that I'm living the life that he would be proud of, that factors into a lot of my decision making.
You feel like he influences a lot of your decisions?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, every day. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, so where can they follow you on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that?
Yeah, so all my personal stuff is under my full name, Derik Aspen Scott, DerikAspenScott. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And then all of our health and fitness stuff is under Scott Health and Fitness. And I try and put out a ton of free information, everything from free workouts to free nutrition habits to free, you name it, I'm trying to give it away. And then I just simply ask if people benefit from the stuff that we put out. They share it or like it or do whatever or interact with us.
Where can they get a hold of you, like the gym? Where is it at again?
So we have, we're actually partnered with a bunch of different gyms. We work with JD's Gym in South County. We work with North Broadway Jiu-Jitsu. We work with Finney's All-in-One Fitness. We work with High Energy Gymnastics. And then we actually have a gym in Chesterfield that's actually our equipment. That's the first place that actually has our stuff in it, and that's off of Edison Road in Chesterfield, 17728 Edison Avenue.
Get me in that gymnastic thing and teach me how to do a backflip.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We have our gymnastics gym that we're partnered up with. We have the only like commercial grade airbag, and an airbag is basically what stuntmen jump off of the top of buildings onto and not get hurt. And so you can fling yourself off of a trampoline into one of these airbags at the gym.
I remember you guys used to have that gym. Like back in the day, we used to jump off stuff.
Yeah, we had a foam pit. Yeah,
I remember using that when we were kids.
It was awesome.
I think it was me and like a couple other kids that were in Sean's class that almost got lost in that thing a couple different times.
Yeah, this is a little bit more friendly than the foam pit was, but yeah, same concept.
All right, man. Thanks for being on, brother. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man.
All right, well, there you have it. Derik Scott, like, I don't know what else to add to it. He mostly said it all. He gave some awesome advice on not only how to eat, how to work out, and some advice on how to live your life. I have to agree with his comments about karma. The dude is an inspiration and definitely a good coach, and honestly, some of his principles definitely blew my mind, some of his techniques too. Definitely get with Derik if you plan on working out and making some lifestyle changes and getting healthier. Follow him on social media spots, and like he said, be your own superhero. You know, I hope to have him on again. I want to hear more about the Shaolin monks.